Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to talk about setting up a wildlife lens. Now, most of us look up videos and try to find settings on how to set up our camera, all the settings and all those type of things, how to use the buttons. But what a lot of us don't think about is setting up the wildlife lens, and there's a lot of things to do on a large wildlife lens, at least for me, and how I set it up. So let's talk about it. So yes, wildlife lenses need to be set up just like your camera body does too. Not as much internal stuff. There's a few things you might want to set on the settings, but it's more about keeping the lens safe, usable, and shiny. I just got this thing a couple days ago, and it is my little precious. It is the Nikon 400-2.8 TC lens. Still nice and shiny right out of the case, and I want to keep it that way as best I can. So how do I protect it, and how do I change some things out to make sure this thing stays safe? So for starters, let's take this lens hood off. This is the very first thing we're going to change out on this camera. Let's get it off of here. So Nikon, Canon, all the camera brands, I don't know why this is still the lens hood for these cameras. It's Velcro. It goes in a case, and you very seldom, unless the very first day, end of the day, you take it on and off. This is to me, almost the most worthless thing I've ever found on a camera. Now let's get the hood off of here. So hood's real simple. Just on these bigger lenses, you have a screw on here that comes off. So if you'll see here, this lens hood is huge. It's very long. It makes the lens, once you put it on, extremely long. Very, very long. I think this thing's 11 or so inches long, a little longer than that. But we want to replace this. The very first thing to do is get rid of this. So replacing the lens hood on your big lens, because these things are large, they are expensive to replace, and they're kind of cumbersome. And you've also got to, screw this thing in and out anytime you take it on and off, and it doesn't fit in bags worth the hoot. It's just large, and it's and cumbersome. So what do we replace it with? Well, there's several replacement hoods, but the one I found is from this company right here called Zemlin Photo. These guys do fantastic work. And this guy right here, we'll open in a minute. You can kind of see what it is. It's the lens cap. We'll show this in a minute. Because we've been griping about, oops, I dropped it too far behind me. This thing right here. This is the lens hood all these big lenses come with. And you have to Velcro it off, put it on there. It is cumbersome. It is ugly. It is a mess. So we don't want to use this ever again. We're going to put this in the studio on a shelf and leave it there. So we're going to use this guy made by Zemlin. So let's open this package up to get this out. And there's the lens hood and the stuff that's in it. So you see we get some little sweet tarts in here with the card from Zemlin. We get some tools to put this on. And we get instructions. I've done it before, so we don't really need the instructions. I put this on all my big lenses, and I need to order one of these for my 180 to 600 too. Now, these guys are a little pricey for lower level lenses, but for these big lenses, it's not that bad at all. I believe this was $230 with the lens hood replacement and the lens cap. We'll show you in a minute. But this is the lens hood, so you can see real quickly, let's move this out of the way, the difference in the size of these two. Much different length on these two. So it makes it a lot better. I don't worry much about lens flare because that's what really lens hoods are made for, to reduce the lens flare. I don't worry about that much. Sometimes I'll shoot in the sun to give it kind of a fog effect also, but I don't worry about lens flare. It's more about protecting that front element. And this is more than long enough. So major difference. Now this is much easier to fit inside the case versus this guy because I've reduced it by half already. So let's set the Nikon one aside for right now and this ugly lens cap. And we're going to attach this in a minute, but I want to show you the lens cap next. So this guy here from Zemlin, it is a fantastic lens cap. I don't know why Canon and Nikon don't kind of steal this idea and make one for these lenses. So let's get it out of the bag and let's attach it to the camera and show you how it works. It's like all your other lens caps for your cameras. It works exactly the same way, just a larger version of it. And it's the only one I really found on the market that I like. And this guy is built like a tank. This thing is fantastic. You got the squeeze clips like you see in all the other lenses. It is solid guy. So all you do on this guy, put your camera over here just like all others, Boom, popped it on there. We are done. We've got the lens cap on here, and it doesn't come off. It is a great lens cap. Actually, it's the best lens cap I've used ever. So they come in a clear ring and an orange ring, as you see on here. And I got the orange ring. The reason is to be able to find this in bags. It comes in a clear ring. Heidi got the clear ring on her 500 F4. My EF 500 that got stole had the orange ring, and this one has an orange ring, so I can find it in the bags, or if I drop it in places like that, it's easier to see and find. Same with the lens hood. So that's the lens cap. Let's go ahead and put it back on here again, just to protect our front element. I don't like leaving this thing unprotected, so I've been kind of nervous this whole time in here not to bang it. And now we're going to put on this lens hood on here, and there's a little bit of a trick. So let's get the instructions just so we can follow them along, just to make sure we don't do anything wrong. I've done this like 2 or 3 times, but it's fairly simple. So according to the instructions here, very simple. You get this little ring out of here, you put on the outside here, you take a little screw, put it on, and then this thing will pop right on just like a normal lens where it slides and clicks. So let's do that real quick. So we're going to need this first in this bag here. This is the tool we need and the screw we need. So let's get that out first. There we go. So we got that. We've got a little lens cleaner if we need it. These are good to go. And a Zemlin sticker. Really cool. I love stickers. The first thing we do is we take this ring out. So we just give it a little pull on the inside, and she pops right out of there. It makes a little noise. Kind of scares you a little bit. We're okay. All right. So next thing we do is we come in here, and there's a little ring inside here that we're going to pop out. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen this screw up here. You see it's right there. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, remember that. So counterclockwise, basically. Hit the mark you want. Once you got it that far, you should be able to take this little inner ring out. And all this did was keep this thing sturdy while it was shipped. So once we got that done, we're good. So now, all we got to do is take this guy, got to spread it out more. And I would suggest you go ahead and just completely unscrew it. Just get all the other side all completely unthreaded here. And I'll show what that looks like in a minute. There we go. So now we're completely open right here. Now we just slide this guy on here, and the orange grip ring right here goes to the inside towards your back of your lens. So let's slide it on here like that, and you'll feel it pop in there. It just pops in there very easily. But again, on this guy, there's a orange little ring. It's more towards the camera side of your lens. Make sure you put that there. So once you got that there, take your little screw here, put it back in here. I'm going to line this screw up a little more this way to the side. Now, this would be easier to do if I had this on a tripod instead of how I'm doing it right here. But for the case of this video, I'm doing it this way where you can see what I'm doing. So now I'm going to go clockwise with this guy once we get it started. Now, one thing to note is there should be a gap here when you get done. It shouldn't be completely flush. It should have a little bit of a gap. And I believe the instructions say there should be 3 to 4 millimeter gap in here. And what I'll do is I'll just lightly tighten this down a little bit more just to see how tight it is. You don't want to go crazy with this thing. Yeah, it's fairly tight, so I'm good. Not extremely tight, but there you go. So now that is on. The little ring is on there for the lens hood. So now what we do is put the lens hood on here. Just put it on here and turn it until you feel it grab. Once it grabs, like that, and then give it a little twist. So now that lens hood's on there and you're good to go. Let me show you what it would look like if I'd have had it on with the other one. That is a difference in length, twice as long. So now it's much easier to get this guy in a case. And on top of that, you've got that lens cap right there, which is so nice to have on there. Just so now we are safe and secure on this lens with that lens cap and this new lens hood. So now that part is set up. Okay, next thing we're going to do is replace the lens foot on this lens with an Arca Swiss lens foot. And the one I'm going to use this time is one made by Leofoto. I bought this. Leofoto didn't send it to me. I looked it up. I like their tripods so much and their gimbals that I ordered the Lensfoot replacement. I usually use Really Right stuff for these, but this time I decided to go with Leofoto to check them out. So let's get this guy out of the package, show what it looks like. And inside the package, you get the Lensfoot replacement and tools to change this out. So let's get the foot out and look at it. And I already pulled this out of the box to look at it. It looks really good. It looks just as good or better than the Really Right stuff ones. And here it is. Let's move you out of the way. I love having this lens cap on here so I can move this around without having to have the whole hood and everything on here. Makes it so much easier to move this thing around. And this is what she looks like. Very nice lens foot here. Has a nice cushion here to hold when you grab it. Good metal design. Looks really good. Very long also. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the lens. And we're not going to put it on yet. We're going to put it on last, the last thing we do. So how would you take this off? Very simple. So get our Allen wrench out. Already got one. I don't need that one. I think. Make sure it's the right size. Nope, I do need this one because I need the size that's in here. So let's get this here. Here we go. All right, let's get this guy off of here. All right, she is off, and we've got 4 screws, so I'm gonna do it real quick, closely, is take all those out. Set this aside. So again, this is gonna go in the shelf and the extra parts for this lens. And I've got the 4 screws, set them over here. This little mat I've got is kind of tacky, so it'll work well. And there's extra screws in here too also with this Leofoto plate. So we're gonna set these to the side also to go into our special box where all my gear is. And we're going to set this aside, and we're going to move on to the next part of setting this lens up, and that is going to be in this package right here. This is from Lenscoat, and this is the neoprene cover that's going to go on this guy. So a lot of guys use skins for their lenses, and I don't. I use the neoprene covers, and why is that? Well, skins are really good. I use them on my laptops. My MacBook Pros have skins on them. And they do help it from little small bangs and scratches. But what I do is I'm down in the rocks a lot of time on beaches. So I'm on a lot of rocks. And I'm constantly kind of bumping it and banging it just a little bit, kind of things like that. And when I do, that can cause those skins to get scuffed up and get down to the lens piece. With the neoprene covers, they have a cushion on them and they really hold well. Let me open this up and talk a little bit more about it. All right, so inside the package, you get a little, some products and some percentage off things, but then you get the full, I'm making a mess over here, the neoprene cover. Now, again, why I use the neoprene cover is these things are kind of thick and they get kind of a cushion when you hit rocks and stuff. It gives a cushion and it keeps from getting smacked and scratched up and things like that. And I want to keep this thing looking as pretty as I can for as long as I can. And we left the lens foot off because we've got to slide each of these pieces on here. And the Lenscoat one's what I like the best. Roland Pro makes a really good one, but it's thinner than the Lenscoat one. And the Lenscoat is the most expensive out of all of them, but again, you get what you pay for. So take this off, and each of these are consecutive rings to go on this. This one would be for the lens hood, which would be, like, not fall over, this guy, which we're not going to use. So we're going to set this one aside, and we're going to start putting all these on here. I'm probably going to fast forward through this so you don't have to sit through it, but here we go. There's a lot of pieces on here, and sometimes I get them confused as I put them on, but the easiest one is the first one. So let's just start doing that, and I'll get to you once we get closer to being done with this. Okay, that is the first piece put on. This takes a while, so I will be cutting through all this. So now I got to take the other pieces off, and hopefully I get them in the right order. Okay, she is on. I worked up a sweat putting that on. These are a kind of a fun to put on here, and with this setup, you have 2 options. You can go with, when you get close to your teleconverter, you've got one with a little plastic window. I see a lot of guys using this last piece, but what I do is I'm putting this on here because I'm not as worried about this getting water in it and stuff, because this lens is water sealed. So I'm gonna leave it open there. I like that, so I'm good to go. Now let's put the Lensfoot back on it, and we are almost done with setting up this lens. But what this does, this keeps me from getting dinged like what I'm doing here. I'm setting it down kind of a little rougher on the table, but I'm not worried about it because I've got the Neoprene cover on it. Could be nice. But let's get the Lensfoot on. So let's line this guy back up here. Put these screws back in here one at a time. Get each one of these started again. The right tool here. All right, so now we got the Leofoto Lensfoot on, just to show you the difference in the size of these guys. This is the original foot, a little shorter here than the other one by quite a bit. Now this doesn't have arc of Swiss, this one does. You can put a plate on the bottom of this, but it adds weight and length. And that's a lot smaller, a lot thinner. So that is on there. We are almost done. Let's go ahead and put the lens hood back on real quick. Again, real simple to do. Just find the notches on it. Get where it is. Get on there. Give a little pull till it clicks, and you're good to go. There we go. A little snug in there, which I want it snug. So that is pretty much the lens setup. The one last thing we have to do is adding this little guy right here, the AirTag on here. So I've got a couple options here. One is we have this Elevation Labs, and we have the waterproof one on here. Now this guy is almost set up. We have two little pieces left. One we're not going to install, but it's something you should always have for your camera. Is this guy right here. It is the RainCoat cover by Lenscoat. There's other companies, but I love the Lenscoat ones. Again, no affiliation with any of these companies that are products that I've got here. These are things I buy out of my own pocket to use. And if I'm paying for them, you know they've been probably tested and good, and I've used them quite a bit. But I use these. This is the Pro version, so you can get your hands in there to keep them dry too. But RainCoat. And the last piece we're going to add here is the strap. And I use Peak Design slider straps on all my cameras. They are extremely well built. The anchors that you put on your camera are tough. You're never going to break them. I've never had one of these fail or give me a fit. And they don't pop off or anything. And I'm a tall guy, so I need a long strap. And this guy's very long. So let's get this out, attach it to the anchors, and then we'll have this camera done. All right, what we get in the bag, we get the strap and we get some anchors. Now you've got this little guy right here. And this is made to put on your plate or in a spot on the bottom that you can use. And I don't use this one. If I have maybe a photography type camera, you can put it here on the bottom and put two pieces on here, but we're not going to use this. Set those aside. So you take each of these little anchors, very simple. Turn your lens to the side, slide it right through your little foot here for your lens strap. One way, slide it through, wrap it around on top of the little fob there, pull it tight. That side's done. Go to the other side. Same method. And out to the other side, and you are done. So from here, all you do is get our strap. And this guy does come with 4 of these little fobs. There's actually a couple of them here actually in the strap itself, so let's just take those out, and we'll put these in a bag, put these aside also for extras. So all you do from here is take your little strap with the little clip here, slide it in there, done. That's it, you are set up. So this lens now is completely set up. We have our replacement lens foot, we have our Neoprene cover to keep it nice and shiny from dings and nicks and scratches, and we have a replacement lens hood. And then later we will put on our AirTag, and we have our lens cap. This is probably the best thing, the best upgrade. Go get this guy, it's phenomenal. And we have our lens strap. We are set up, ready to go in the wild, and I am so happy. I'm ready to go take this guy out and shoot it. But that's how I set up my lens. Real easy to do. I'll have prices down in the description of all this stuff and links to everything that I've done here, including the Zemlin link to the lens cap, the lens hood, the Neoprene cover, the strap, the Lensfoot, the rain cover, all these things, the AirTag cases, the AirTags themselves, all that will be in there. So Go check that out. I hope this helped. Just the way I set my lenses up. All my long lenses have this setup. I think I've got the, yeah, here's the 180 to 600. Same thing. I've got my Neoprene cover. I don't have a replacement lens foot, but I will very soon. I've got my strap set up here, and I'm going to replace this lens hood with a Zemlin hood also to make it smaller. It had to be smaller, but much more secure. But anyway, guys, that's how I set them up. Hope this helps. And as always, guys, until next time, get outside and go run that shutter.